Hello there, hi. I'm Ira and you're with me. Um, I have a thoughts that I wanted to say, but I think I've been holding it on for a very long time. Not so long time, but I think I hold it on too much that I feel like I need to burst out. Well, and I didn't want to speak through YouTube for quite a while now because I think things has been out of out of the way, and which it makes me made a solution to write my thoughts, and I give to a right authority to review um, what my thoughts is. So I had put into writing about my thoughts on the the war that's happening right now. If it's not a war itself, not a really big war that we want to say, I wouldn't like to say it's a war. It's some sort of disagreement which it has some possibility to make a change. And yeah, so I had to I'm not ready to share it in YouTube because I am afraid that my words are landing on not like the individual, the country that I am expected to landing on. So it means that when I say the word, I do not label it for, let's say, it's for Iran, or it's for US, or it's for Israel. So I would say that it's because anyone could change. Um, um, because if I want to label a person is the wrong ones, it has a tendency of, how to say, a tendency of pressure of not wanting to change about something, right? This is actually a scientific, like, where when you say to a person that ah you are, I'm out of breath, let's say you're the wrong person. So what will happen is it makes the person to have more tendency to rebel, which will cause a worse results. Okay, let's say I'll give an example of person A to person B. Let's say person B didn't ask for an advice, and a person A will say to person B, hey, you are an evil person. You should change in this way so it will be much better. So what happened is person B will rebel and make things worse. So when I put like when I speak without labeling who's an evil person and who's not an evil person, what happened is they will think that they are learning from something, like they will learn by themselves and not feeling of pressure, not feeling like you're being pushed over to do something right, right? I think this is all happened to each of us, where we are we are not listening to advice easily. We are having our own I would say we have our own pace to accept what we wanted to accept in terms of life learning and whatever it is. And I like to make us all think that actually what's happened is basically is back to basic, where it's a human behavior, like scientifically it's a human behavior, despite of we are viewing things historically, politically, or anything, like much in a bigger way. But I believe that it's come back to the basic, that this is the human character itself, human behavior, all this base. Sorry, my English is really bad. Scientifically, that's what I wanted to say, and how it's related to the what's happening in the war itself. What's my theory? Say, I'm not really professional economist, but I would say I have some theory. So I wouldn't point out who is the wrong ones, because I believe there is something that we don't really know what's happening. But through my experience, going through all type of people that I met, so I've learned that I couldn't be every one person, right? And I would say that I couldn't change the systems of our government system, but what I can do is to believe in myself. Who am I as a person? To be who I am, and by that means is not to ignore the government system itself, but to actually survive the basics needs that I have to survive in a world. So what's happened is, what I see is people who are fighting on a political party, whether it's the right wing or the left wing, the Sunni or the Shia. I believe that it is really something that is really big for you to wanting to change the government system. But this is something that you couldn't change it through aggression. I would say that hardly it is. But that means it will take some time to have the right strategic plan in order to achieve that, but that means you don't have to sacrifice your own life in order to want something, you know. And I would say this is not just happened in Iran, it's happened to every country, not what you see in real life outside, that a country have freedom, that is all just media, but the reality is each of us have our own struggles on putting ourselves in an environment that we don't really want, right? Okay. So the other thing I wanted to say, even though I'm out of breath now, is by viewing things on other shoes, what I see is, in order to respect each other country, is we have to see on their shoes what's happening, okay? So what I see, in my opinion, when I see what's happening in Iran, is they have a protest, but one thing that I'm pretty sure is our impatience to help others without ever thinking the consequences. So it's like, I understand that this might not a right perspective that I had, but my thoughts probably is like US wanted to help Iran in the right intentions to help them to be liberal. But be mindful that sometimes your help could be harmful for others. The right help is actually to stay patient in silence and on the right timing to give a help that they needed, not a harmful help that would require to attack another country, so it will change everything. It's not what's it's supposed to be. But as for now, it's happening already. And the question is, the solution is a questions. I like to make you think of what is the solutions, which I believe that humans are hardly easy to admit their mistakes, and which is totally understand that, but the question is, how are you going to move on and do the right thing? So that's all for me, and